A panel of 3 U.S. judges blocked Alabama from using an electoral map that would eliminate one of the state's 2 majority-black U.S. House districts. The ruling from the judges, which included 2 appointed by President Donald Trump, is a setback for Republican efforts to retain control of the chamber in November's midterm elections. Black voters typically support Democratic candidates, and Trump's Republicans are defending a narrow House majority. The ruling on Tuesday follows a Supreme Court decision last month dealing with electoral maps that severely weakened the Voting Rights Act, a 1965 law intended to prevent discrimination in voting. Joseph Axe is a national affairs correspondent for Reuters.
It used to be the case that if you could show that it had a discriminatory impact on black voters, that was good enough. The Supreme Court has now said, no, you've got to show that lawmakers actually intentionally and purposefully were discriminating against black voters when they drew the map. It's a very high bar. And what this panel is basically saying is that in Alabama, the plaintiffs who sued here have met that bar, that they have produced enough evidence to convince this court that, yes, in fact, legislators did know and intentionally intended for this map to harm black voters specifically.
The state is expected to appeal the ruling to the Supreme Court. Republican Alabama Governor Kay Ivey previously postponed to August the party primary elections for 4 U.S. House districts that were redrawn as part of the disputed map.
The Supreme Court could decide to go back to the map Alabama wants to use. They could allow the panel's decision to stay in place and force them to use the map they used for the last election. But either way, they've got to make a decision pretty quick, right? Because those elections are coming up in August. Candidates have to be out there campaigning. You don't want voters to be confused about who they're voting for, which district they're in. And so this really underscores all of the chaos that the Supreme Court's Voting Rights Act decision has kind of unleashed across these various southern states.
Tennessee and Louisiana have each dismantled a majority-black U.S. House seat. But in South Carolina, Trump was dealt another setback on Tuesday, when several Republican state senators broke with their party and voted with Democrats to reject a new map aimed at dismantling the district held by U.S. Representative James Clyburn, a black Democrat who has held the seat since 1993.